All right, everybody, welcome into Beyond the Tape with 32 beat writers. We are live here from Radio Row at the Senior Bowl. I got TJ with me, of course, you know, me and him, I guess, on Beyond the Tape. You know, you're probably more familiar with him than me at this point. But yeah, this is presented by Finalists, by the way. We'll talk about them a little bit more later. Thankful for them sponsoring this. But TJ, yeah, we're down here at the Senior Bowl down in Mobile, Alabama. It's great to have you with me this year.
Pumped to be here.
Yeah, last year I was kind of by myself, and it's just a lot to do. We're, like I mentioned, on Radio Row, so we get to interview a bunch of players this year. You got to do that this morning, which is great. We got some official measurements, got to see some people up on the podium today for the first initial press conference. So yeah, I don't know, generally speaking, what does being down here at the Senior Bowl look like for you? Like, what are you excited about? Why do you think it's important?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one, thanks for 32 beat writers for bringing me out here, so I appreciate you, Zach. Yeah, no, I mean, it's a great opportunity, especially in a year like this where this is the most loaded Senior Bowl roster there's ever been, in my opinion. So now you get to see this most loaded roster that's been here go head-to-head one-on-ones. I mean, the one-on-ones the next couple of days, you're going to be seeing a ton of clips from us, from everyone on X, and then that's going to be, you know, what the discussion is about. Who shined, who really took advantage of those opportunities. Hey, I thought that tackle was really good, but that edge, he got the best of them. And, you know, you saw some of that last year, you know, with a guy like Talise Fuwanga winning one rep and then coming back. Another edge rusher would get the best of them. And, you know, it's just an ongoing battle, especially with, you know, there were 10 first-rounders last year here at Mobile. Yeah. I'd be hard-pressed to think there's not 16 or more, to be honest with you. I think this is a loaded group.
Yeah, 10 first-rounders last year, 45 in the top 100. I posted that a couple days ago on our X feed as well. And, yeah, I mean, I think you were saying you wouldn't be surprised if there was at least more than 45 in the top 100 this year.
Yeah,
well, right? So,
honestly, I'm looking at 50 or more. I think they get more than half of the top 100.
Yeah, so a lot of guys here. We got some official measurements. I don't know if you want to take us through some of those, some of the critical ones?
Yeah, real quick, because it's a lot of numbers and I don't want to get too caught up in the jargon. You can follow me on X. I've been tweeting through some of it, or you could follow the Senior Bowl. They've been, if you want to see the actual numbers, then stop, pause, look at it. That's a good avenue for it. They put it out, all the numbers today. I'll start with Brashad Smith. He was one of the players I was most excited about coming here. Okay. 5'9", 195. Bucky Irving, 5'9", 194. So, like, immediately seeing that, plus his receiving background, I'm very interested in that body type. Deion Walker's a massive human being, 6'7", 340. And he was telling Dane Brugler before the year he wants to break the D-tackle record at the Combine. So I'm ready to see that massive human being move some folks this week. We got to see Jalen Milroe at the press conference, which we're going to talk about in a moment. A little bit of a disappointing measurement, sub 9-inch hands at almost, it's 8 3/4. So it's in and around Kenny Pickett area, which is obviously a little disappointing, especially as a Steelers fan. That one didn't end all that well. But hey, he's actually the backup quarterback in the Super Bowl, so you know who am I to knock? But that's definitely something to take into account. I think he's got a stronger arm and obviously better mobility. So you know, pros and cons there. You'll weigh a lot. Devin Neal, 5'10". Get this, 220. If anybody's watched Devin Neal, man,
thick boy.
Yeah. I mean, he's super explosive, and you know, long speed was going to be a question, especially if he's 220. That's a way bigger frame and a lot more mass than I thought he'd be coming here with. Cornerback from Kentucky, I need to be better about positions and teams. That's Devin Neal, running back Kansas. Maxwell Hairston, corner from Kentucky, came in a little smaller, and that'll be a trend throughout this. You know, schools tend to have guys a little bit boosted up. But Hairston, 5'11", 179. It's not Emmanuel Forbes territory with the weight, but it is definitely lower marks on both sides of that. But he is a very click and close, very athletic guy. So it's not the end of the world for how he plays, but it is, you know, sub 6 foot threshold, not ideal, sub 180. You'd like to see that be a little bit bigger. Jonas Avanaya, I've kind of been calling him a guard this whole time. Okay. He plays right tackle for Arizona. 34.5-inch arms. 34 is kind of like the benchmark. If you can hit 34, that's great. 33, you know, Rashawn Slater, you can make some exceptions because they're special in other places. That might put 7AA back into the tackle conversation, or at least as a contingency, kind of like Elijah Vera Tucker, like, hey, you draft this guy because he can also do that. Armand Membu, one of the best tackles. Him and Josh Connerly, these two guys could leave this week as tackle 1, tackle 2. I know everyone loves Will Campbell. He's probably a guard. Kelvin Banks is great. He's still my OT1, but we may leave this week seeing these guys in the one-on-ones, both having 34-inch arms. They could leave Mobile as tackle 1, tackle 2 in the draft.
Well, and they'll certainly have their opportunity against the defensive line that's down here. So.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Mike Green, who's another one to talk about here, 251 pounds. The downside, though, 32.25-inch arms. So especially against a guy like Connerly and Membu, he's going to have to win with speed, which you can initiate contact with length or with speed. If he can make up for, you know, what literally is lost, you know, distance with speed, he'll be able to do that. Another defensive lineman, TJ Sanders, just want to note, 284 pounds, so he's kind of in that Kalijah Canty territory. He plays the run really well, but I think that might change his profile for some people. Again, really good college tape against the run, but might become more of a gap shooter and winning with speed, especially as a pass rusher. Another edge rusher I'm excited about, Josiah Stewart. I mean, you talk about speed and bend. This guy's got an abundance of it. 248 pounds is a good number for him. He was never going to be someone who's 270 rocked up playing 3 downs. But this definitely moves him closer into that conversation, and maybe takes him a little bit less out of the DPR specialist. Kind of Nick Benito when he was first drafted, you only get him down on the field for 3rd downs. This may take Stewart a little bit out of that realm. Donovan Ezeraku, another one of these insane edge rushers. He's a guy on tape that, dude, the guy is dangling pterodactyl wings. He's got to have some crazy arm length, 34.5-inch arm. So that's 2 1/4 inch longer than Mike Green. That's insane. Did want to hit on a quarterback real quick. Dylan Gabriel, 5'10", not 6 foot, which, I mean, there's probably a little bit of conversation about that, but 202, so he checks out with weight, but 5'10", that's, of course, the first question he gets at the press conference is, what do you want to say about it? Let them kind of talk about it. Darian Porter, 6'2", 197, a corner that was listed at 6'4", receiver background, 6'2", still great, but it's just not 6'4". Tez Johnson, he's going to be one of the interviews, 156 pounds.
Very light.
So that's going to be tough for him to be able to justify playing on the outside. The game has changed a lot. You can put these guys in motion. You can probably make it work, but that definitely changes the lens in which you look at him. Aeneas Peebles, another one of these D tackles, sub 290, so he's probably one of these gap shooters. He definitely is that Duke transfer to Virginia Tech, interior defensive lineman. I think he kind of backs it up with that weight listing. Last few ones I want to talk about here. Actually, the last one, 2 more. Wyatt Milam. 32 and just over 1/2-inch arms. So there's been a big conversation in the draft community. Can he play tackle? Can he play guard? Sub 33-inch arms. Wyatt Milam's going to probably be a guard. And then Ozzie Trapilo, 33.5-inch arms. He's 6'7". So it's one of these things where the arms look a little short, but 33.5-inch arms, I think he might be able to make it work. He's played left and right tackle at Boston College, but it's going to be interesting. And the counter to that is 6'7" is pretty big for a guard. Yeah. We've seen a little bit more of that with guys like Daniel Falele, Mekhi Becton, big behemoth monster human beings moving inside and not affecting their team. But the question is going to be, can you do that with 6'7" Trapilo? But ultimately, I think 33.5 might be just enough to be able to keep him at tackle. Those are the big measurements. You can check them all out at Reese Senior Bowl. It's a lot of numbers. It's a lot of data for sure, so bear with us.
Well, anybody who follows us, we know that you all love that those numbers and data.
The nitty-gritty.
You mentioned the press conference. Let's just dig into that a little bit. We had Jim Nagy, the executive director for the Senior Bowl, up there. He was talking about the class overall in general, kind of where it stacks up against last year's, and especially, which is interesting. We also got to see quarterback from Oregon, Dylan Gabriel, and then, as you mentioned, also Jalen Milroe. So anything that stood out to you from any of those guys, specifically Nagy, and the comparisons between the 2 drafts?
Yeah, and honestly, Nagy's probably the better place to start. So real quick, I'll get Gabriel and Milroe out of the way. Milroe talked about his 2-time captainship. I think that's a good quality for him. He didn't want to besmirch any quarterback in the league or in this draft class, which I also think has taken the high road. I think that shows a lot of character. I think this is kind of a guy that, once he gets to team interviews, if you're wondering why he goes as high in the draft, that could definitely be a part of the equation. Talked about what he's been working on from the end of the season to now. Talked about what he's learned from, the Saban era ending, going to Kalen DeBoer. He really put an emphasis on how much he's learned. Different coaches bringing in different, kind of aspects and knowledge points and viewpoints of the game, and he's tried to soak up as much as he can there. Gabriel, like we said, first question is going to be about, his size. And he kind of put that to size to bed. He said, it's a different way of looking at it. It's, some people want 6'4", and some people are fine with 5'10". And the person who asked him a question is a Seattle reporter who they did well with a pretty good 5'10" quarterback back in his day. So that was the main thing from Gabriel, talking about his leadership and talking a little bit about Tez. Somebody asked him directly about that. So nothing really to take away from those guys because it's just words out of their mouth. We'll get to see them play on the field later this week. Nagy, though, and of course, first question here, quarterbacks. It's going to always be the quarterbacks. And he rightfully so noted last year's, that's an outlier class. I mean, 6 quarterbacks go in the top 12, and I think all 6 of those teams are really liking where they're at right now. Like even should the Bears have taken Jaden? I don't think any Bears fan, considering their franchise history, is upset with Caleb Williams being under center. And then the one that you might take an exception to is the Vikings with J.J. McCarthy, just because it's unknown, but had a good preseason, and hey, you made the playoffs. You were a 14-3 team without your top 10 pick. I think you're in a good spot as a roster there. So he immediately talked about that. Next question was about running backs. He said he had close to, right around 30 draftable grades. So in a weak free agent class, a lot of these guys are going to fly off the board.
Yeah, and if you wonder, if we're posting a mock draft or anything like that, and anybody has a problem with where those guys slot up, I mean, part of it's just going to be the fact that there are so many. So it'll be
Right.
really interesting to see both the order that they come off the board in April, and then also, where that run, if one happens, tends to go. So, yeah, a lot of names that we're going to have to know, and I think that could change quite a bit.
And it's obviously huge for the fantasy community because there's going to be a boon of these guys. And it's also, like I said, weak free agent class, so it's going to be interesting to see how that affects those guys' contracts. But we also live in a league where it's by committee, and there's about to be 30-plus dudes entering this league, making it more so that. And to your point, when it comes to like mock drafts, I mean, that's going to be a huge conversation. Do you want to draft R.J. Harvey, let's just say in the 3rd round, or do you want to wait 2 more rounds to get Damian Martinez, plus the guy you got in the 3rd round, right? So like that's going to be the ongoing conversation with a lot of great running backs, but where do they go?
All right, we're going to get to some player interviews, but before we do that, let's go ahead and pay the bills. Everybody knows life is a grind, and it feels like every minute counts between work, personal commitments, and trying to stay on top of your fantasy team. It can be a lot. That's why we're excited to tell you about Finalist, the app that helps you build and prioritize and optimize your day-to-day tasks. It helps you plan everything from work projects to personal errands and maybe even prospect draft analysis. Finalist helps you get more out of your day by breaking tasks down into manageable steps so you can stay organized and never miss a deadline, whether it's for work or for fantasy football. So if you want to crush your to-do list and stay on top of your fantasy squad, head over to Finalist.works today and use code BEAT50 to get an exclusive discount on their premium plan. Start organizing your day like a pro and watch your life level up. Again, that's code BEAT50, B-E-A-T 50 at Finalist.works today. All right, with that, we'll go ahead and get on to the interviews.
TJ Winger joined now by Canadian quarterback Taylor Elgersma. Taylor, thanks so much for joining us here.
I'm excited. Thanks for having me.
Man, you've been a busy guy, and you're getting some attention, man. So this is really exciting. So let's just go back 2 weeks. Let's keep it simple. 2 weeks ago, you go to the Tropic Bowl, and now you're here at another senior circuit showcase.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, this is where I want to be playing football. So being able to be down in the States for as long as I have been, like you said, I was down at the Tropical Bowl. Before that, I was down in Texas at the College Gridiron Showcase, and I've been spending time down in Alabama. So I love it down here, and so this state trip has been fun for me.
And obviously, the background to get you here is a little bit different, right? You're coming from Canadian College Football League, but you also got a lot of really applicable professional experience, right? 3 different CFL training camps. Talk to me about that experience and how that's made you a better quarterback over the last few years.
Yeah, it's a super cool program we have down in Canada. It's called the CFL Internship Program. So being able to go to 2 training camps with the Toronto Argonauts and 1 with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, I mean, learning professional playbooks, playing with professional players, it speeds up your processing, it speeds up your development, and, having coaches, at that level that are, buying into you and developing you and, teaching you about the game has been really good for my development as a player.
No doubt about it. And, even more with your time here, I'm going to butcher this name. Heck Crichton Player of the Year? Is
Yes,
it Heck
that's
Crichton?
it. Yes, sir.
There we go. 1 for 1 today. But that's basically the equivalent to the Canadian Heisman, as I understand it, right?
Yeah.
So you get that recognition, you get the chance to go play with 3 different training camps. All of this leading it to where we are today, right? So, and then just the ability to compete over these last few weeks, 3 different senior circuits. That says a lot about you. But I also want to talk to you a little bit about QB country, right? Local QB camp. What all have you gotten from that experience, and how has that helped you get ready for this week?
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time now in Birmingham with Ben Neal in QB country, and he's done an amazing job preparing me for this experience, but also the past, like you said, showcases. Being Canadian, coming down here and expanding my knowledge in the American game, transitioning from 12-man football to 11-man football,
right.
A lot more under center. Working with me through my mechanics, he's been really helpful throughout that journey and getting me prepared for opportunities like this.
No doubt about it. And even more about that, like the difference between field and I don't think the ball's any different, but you have the white stripe. Yeah, the ball's a little different and you get the white stripe on it. So talk to me about the transitions there from the standard in Canada versus the standard in the US and how that's maybe helped you.
Yeah, there's like a lot of differences, but there's a lot of similarities as well. In Canada we have a wider field, an extra guy, less down, unlimited motion. And so that leads the game to be a lot more about, manipulating formations to find, areas on the field. The field's so wide, we're trying to manipulate the defense to find open grass. In the States, with the one less guy, it's a lot more about matchups and leverage and fitting the ball in tight windows and giving your guys chances when you have, opportunities to get the ball down the field. And so, it's been fun, learning that transition and experiencing and growing my knowledge about, the specifics of the American game.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, and you talk about American side, leverage, tight windows. Man, I was watching some of your tape. you got some tight window throws in there, man. And then you're 6'5", you're 220. NFL teams are checking boxes as I say this. Big arm, so you got the tools, man. And now you come into the Senior Bowl, working with new receivers. It's a new environment. You're going against guys who are playing in the SEC, the Pac-12, all these Power 4 conferences, and then some coming from smaller schools that had great, Seth Hennigan from Memphis, 11-win team. So talk to me about what excites you about working with those different quarterbacks, competing with them, but then also getting to work with receivers that you haven't really gotten a chance to play with before.
Yeah, it's super exciting. I mean, I'll start with the quarterbacks. I mean, there's a great quarterback class and group here. My side, having DG and Tyler over there, we got a good start yesterday. I feel like it's going to be a lot of fun this week. They're a great group of guys, and so being able to learn from them too. I mean, obviously those guys have had, really successful, college careers, and so being able to pick their brain, work through the playbook with them, and compete with them is something that I'm super excited about. And then when you go to the receivers, I mean, the talent here it's second to none. This is the best of the best, and so getting the opportunity to let those guys go make plays and make me look good, I'm excited about that.
Absolutely. It's funny hearing you say that. So it's you, Tyler Shook, and Dylan Gabriel. So you have like 6'5". Shook's what, 6'6", 6'7", monster of a human being, and then Dylan Gabriel, who's 6 foot. So I can't wait for the quarterback picture of that team. That's going to be awesome. But also like two guys, Tyler Shook's played a lot of college football. Dylan Gabriel, 5 years as a starter. How's that maybe helped you with just their familiarity, and then maybe some of these playbooks, the concepts similar? How's that maybe helped you?
Yeah, they've been great so far. I mean, we kicked this thing off with a couple meetings before we even got down here, and then yesterday, being able to just do some light toss and just talk through some of the book, and I can tell already it's going to be a great week. Like, obviously, we all want to compete with each other, and we all want to push each other to be the best versions of ourselves. But there's no internal
animosity or
anything like that.
Totally.
We got a great room that everyone's excited for each other to go out there and try and showcase the best of their abilities, and so I think that we're going to support each other throughout the whole week.
Yeah, you're all trying to bump up your draft stock, right? That's ultimately why you're here. So if you guys can do that collectively, it makes a lot of sense to me.
100%.
Well, Taylor, last question: hopes, goals, ambitions for the week. What do you have from your side?
Yeah, I mean, my main goal from this whole week is just to showcase the authentic version of myself and the best version of myself every single day. I want to get better throughout the week. Obviously, I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm new to the American game, like you said. I'm playing at a level competition that I haven't played at before, but I want to show how high my ceiling is. I want to show these teams, what they can get me to if they, put time into me and develop me, and like I said, show off the arm, show off my processing skills, and like I said, just get better and learn and soak this whole thing up.
No doubt. Well, I'll tell you something about me, especially when you go through these draft process and you do it for a few years. I have a soft place in my heart when I see a guy go from small school to big school. And you've almost kind of done that with 3 different senior circuit showcases. So this is your opportunity. This is you climbing the ladder, and this is going to be a great week for you, man. I can't wait to see you out there, man.
I appreciate that.
Awesome. Taylor, thanks so much for the time, man.
Of course.
Have a great week.
Thank you.
Joined now by Xavier Restrepo, TJ Wingert here for Beyond the Tape and 32 Beat Writers. Xavier, thanks so much for taking the time to join us.
No, thank you for this opportunity. It's awesome.
Man, Xavier, I just got to know. One, it was a great season for you guys in Miami. I want to talk to you about Cam Ward. If you told me you guys have been playing together for 10 years, I think I would have believed you. But let's just start with, end of the season with Miami. You guys, unfortunately, don't make the college football playoff. So you have a little bit of a time before you get to the Senior Bowl. I'd love to know, walk me through the process of deciding to come here to Mobile, and then what the day-to-day has looked like from then till now.
No doubt. I mean, definitely over the past 2 months, I've been training to be a track athlete, so it's a little
sure.
It's exciting, to get back into football, do, what I love, and that is to play football. So, I mean, again, every single day, 6 days a week, just, early in the morning all the way to the afternoon with, treatment and training, lifting, all that stuff. Pile all that stuff up in each single day. And again, just try to get better each and every single day.
Absolutely. And I'd love to know, man, there's a couple of players that I look at when I see you play, and I'm like, okay, I see a little similarities there. But are there any players that at the next level you model your game after?
Present or past?
Either one.
Yes, I do have a lot. I mean, I watch so much film on guys. I know I've said this in previous interviews and stuff like that, but I mean, I try to take, who the best is at that specific thing, whether it's releases with Devontae Adams or if it's second level releases with Tank Dell, or if it's run after the catch with Debo, or if it's creativity with Amon Ross and Brown, it's
totally.
It's just everything. And then, I mean, I am an undersized guy myself, so I love watching undersized guys just completely dominate, like Steve Smith Sr.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, he's a straight dog. I actually grew up watching him and just love everything about his game. Because, you said it before, just like the stereotype of if you're under 6 foot, you're in the slot,
Yeah, right.
And Steve Smith at 5'9" did it outside and dominated,
right.
So, again, just I watch a lot of tape, so I try to implement like nick and knack each thing from everybody.
Well, see, that's what I think is super exciting about coming to the Senior Bowl, because day one, I think you're already one of the best slot receivers. Like, I could count on that. That's a safe projection for you at the next level. You'd be an awesome slot player. But you talked about Tank Dell, 5'10", 165. You look at that and you're like, that's a slot only. You know, just if you're going to be, short-term analysis, you're going to say that's a slot only guy. He came to the Senior Bowl and he showed, hey, press me if you dare. You lose, it's 6 the other way. So I'm really excited to get to see the opportunity for you to say, hey, press me on the outside. I want to take advantage of these one-on-ones. So is that some of the ambitions you have for this upcoming week, being able to show, hey, put me up, line me up wherever, I'll beat who's across from me?
For sure. I didn't have too many one-on-one opportunities in the season, so I'm definitely going to be excited, to get finally man coverage one-on-one. Not bracketed the whole entire game, so
I was about to
I'll
say,
be excited.
Yeah, I was about to say at Miami, obviously you have a ton of attention on you, but also I feel like, again, if you told me you and Cam Ward had played 10 years together, I would have believed you. But he's just got an enactability that he's just so loose, so calm, extend the play. Like you look at that, season opener against Florida, keep drifting, left side, dot, back corner of the end zone. It's like, whoa, hello, Cam Ward. So I feel like that plays in the factor. Zone coverage, okay, sit, keep your eyes on him. So yeah, talk to me a little bit about, some of the challenges there, because you're a guy that you're so shifty and you're so sudden out of your breaks that man coverage almost feels a little too easy for you. So talk to me about some of the challenges there against zone coverage and how much of that you guys saw this year.
Right. I mean, me and Cam spend a lot of time together. Waking up every morning at 5 a.m. We're the first ones in the building watching film and stuff like that. So again, all the stuff behind the scenes, we play the game 6-7 times before we actually play it. So. I mean, when the game gets there, we start laughing and we're comfortable because this isn't the first time we've seen it, And when adversity does strike, we have a backup plan, So, again, we watch a lot of tape together. He's an amazing football player, and he allowed us to win a lot of games this year. So, I mean, again, going back on zone coverage, I study football,
Yeah, sure.
Again, there's 4 or 5 different coverage variations, but then there's 20,000 ways to run them,
Right.
So
and at certain depths
exactly.
and everything.
And you just have to understand that, cover 3, no matter who's going to each third, someone's going to be in that third.
Right.
And then there's going to be 4 flat defenders unless you're doing drop 8 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But again, it's all the same. You just have to understand football, understand zones on the field, and know where your sweet spots are.
Absolutely. Well, and it's cool to hear that, because I watch you and I'm like, this is a cerebral football player. This is a guy who understands what he's looking at and how to exploit it. And that also comes with, you played 5 years at Miami, and I'd love to talk even about that. So over the course of your time there at Miami, turnover at quarterback, turnover at a coach, and then it's also one of these things where every year there's just a lot of pressure on the U. You got the U on that right side of your polo there. There's just a lot of pressure that comes with it because it's such a huge brand. So talk to me a little bit about that journey of being a part of that. And at any point where it got too tough, you could have jumped ship, but you stayed loyal to that program and ultimately paid dividends. You guys were one of the best teams in the ACC, and I think we can say, and Carson Beck now coming in there next year, I think we can say the U is back. So talk to me a little bit about that process and what that was like for you.
Yes, sir, for sure. I mean, sucks that we came up short, but
Sure.
I mean, the process has been, amazing. It's been, I think it's molded me more into the football player I am today. Being able to adapt, being able to, whatever's thrown at me, just consume it and react,
Totally.
3 different offensive coordinators, 3 different receiver coaches, 2 head coaches, 4 different quarterbacks, So, again, I just, try to take advantage of every single opportunity, and I'm a big man of faith, and the Bible says just be still, be where your feet are, So that's a big thing for me, I am heavily into the Bible, and again, when the Bible says be still, there is no other answer, So
Absolutely.
Again, just taking advantage of my opportunities, being where my feet are.
100%. So then this week in Mobile, man, you guys are going to see, I mean, like you said, you're going to see a lot of one-on-ones, you're going to see a lot of man coverage. A lot of different types of corners too. You got some big guys, some small guys, some guys who at the next level will play slot, some guys who will play outside. So have you done any research? You said you like watching tape. Have you done any research on these guys? And is there any specific matchups you're looking forward to this week?
I have done some film watching and stuff like that already. But I mean, all those guys look incredible. They're obviously here for a reason. They're ball players. They're some of the best DBs in the nation. I'm super excited to go against talent like that and see where I line up versus them.
No doubt about it. And then I always got to know, post play, I always want to know what players I got to keep my eyes on afterwards. You like to chirp or any talking, or is the play's done, the play's done?
I actually don't know because last year the guy that did most of the chirping was Cam, so I was kind of like the everybody calm down type of guy. But I could get pretty chirpy when things get intense. I definitely get a little chirpy, but I mean, there's pretty much nothing to say after the play's over with. Because
the rep is the rep.
The business is done.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Well, man, Xavier, I don't want to hold you up, but man, I'm so excited because you even talked about it. Like, you've seen a lot and you've worked with a lot of different quarterbacks. You've had different playbooks, and I think that really does equip you for. And also, like, you're again such an advanced route runner that man coverage. I think you're going to be just fine there. But like stepping into an environment with new quarterbacks, learning a new playbook, you've already had to do that, man. So I think you're going to shine this week, man. I'm pumped up to get to see you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Xavier, thanks so much for the time, man.
Sir,
have a good week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
TJ Wingert now joined with Oregon receiver Tez Johnson. Tez, thanks so much for joining us.
Appreciate having me, man.
So Tez, man, you guys make the college football playoff. You get an extra game there. Talk to me the decision about coming to the Senior Bowl. You could have said, hey, I got the extra game of tape. I had a good year. That's that. But walk me through your decision and your process to come to Senior Bowl.
For me personally, it was just I'm coming back home. So that's the easy decision for me. But I'm also the guy that loves to compete. I mean, the Senior Bowl, you got the best of the best here. Why not show why they invited you? You know what I'm saying? And then also get a chance for the NFL coaches to see why you've been like the top of your game all these years. So it's just one of those things that you want to come out here and just prove yourself.
Totally.
Like, yeah.
And then, so what goes into this process? What have you been doing since season ends for Oregon to now? Is it just rest recovery? Again, you had a long year, man, so I don't blame you if that's what you're doing. Or is there anything you've been working on since then?
The first week, yeah, for sure, rest and recovery. It was a pretty physical season for us. But now I've been training with TJ Uzmanzada.
Yeah,
I think that's how you say it, who's your mama, however you want to say his name. But yeah, for sure, I've been training with him and a couple Tennessee guys and a couple of my teammates. It's been really, it's crazy because you picture yourself in those moments, but you don't know when that time is going to come. So you like, all right, you're going to go out here and train your best, and you see those guys like, who's out there, A.D. Mitchell.
Right.
And you comparing yourself to those guys, and you like, okay, how did he get here? So you basically out there competing with yourself and other guys that's already in the league. So yeah.
No doubt. Well, and I kind of want to even talk to you about that because there's been a couple of receivers over the last few years that they came in here with a slot-only designation, right? You look at Tank Dell, he's 5'10", 165. That guy can't play on the outside. Last year it's Roman Wilson, 5'11", maybe 180. Like that guy's a slot only. They had a hell of a week in the one-on-ones. They show, hey, I can beat press coverage. I can play on the outside. I'm hoping to see the same thing from you this week, but is that some of your motivation and some of what you want to show this week?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm actually modeling my game out of Tank Dell. Me and Tank has a really good connection with each other.
Awesome.
Like me, Big Ten championship, Tank Dell was the first person calling me right after. So I'm like, yeah,
That's awesome.
That's pretty good. And it's pretty like you model your game after these guys and you actually show that you can play like them. And when he's in the league doing stuff like that, and he actually came to the Senior Bowl and absolutely dominated every corner that you've seen out there, Alabama, from SEC, Pac-12 to Big Ten,
100%.
Nobody could cover him. And that just shows you the game changing in a lot of ways. So yeah.
No doubt. Was there any other players that you modeled your game after? Tank, anybody else?
Yeah, Tank, Cooper Kupp, Tyler Lockett, those guys like that. Bucky Irvin for sure because we have the same type of agility.
Totally.
We most definitely, a lot of guys, I think I play like Tyler Lockett as far as not taking hits. He don't take a lot of hits. Me and Tank Dell, route running. I think he's a little shorter, but we have the same ability as far as running routes. Cooper Kupp, option routes,
totally.
Being able to get open and know the coverages and stuff like that. So, and obviously, if you know, Cooper Kupp has worked with me through this offseason as far as running routes and stuff like that and making decisions on option routes. So he helped me a lot this season as far as that.
No doubt. And it's funny that you use Cooper Kupp because like him and Matt Stafford, there's a couple guys in the NFL that have this like, you could blindfold the guys and like they know where they are.
Right.
And like Cooper Kupp knows where to expect the football, all that sort of stuff. You and Dylan Gabriel had the same sort of thing this year. What's interesting about that, Dylan first year there at Oregon, before that, it's Bo Nix. And I remember when Dylan transferred to Oregon, there were a lot of talks that, okay, there's a similarity there between what Bo Nix did in college and how he fit in that offense, and then Dylan Gabriel. So can you talk to me a little bit about that transition from one quarterback to the next, how it was similar, how it was different, and then ultimately, what was that chemistry like with Dylan? And you get to play with him again another week.
Well, obviously the difference is Bo's taller.
The left versus right, too.
Yeah, the left and right. That's pretty obvious. But I think the difference is just Bo, I play with him a lot.
So it was just muscle memory.
And of course, like, you have a deep tie history with Bo
like,
Nix. Yeah.
it's muscle memory with me and Bo.
Sure.
When Dylan come in, he a lefty, he's a new guy. I'm like, okay, now we on the field heavy. After every practice, after every meeting, let's get on the field and do this. Let's throw this route. And more, we start getting confidence. And it's like, okay, I can play with this guy on Saturdays. Then I think the first spring practice, the very first play, we go up top, boom. It's like, yeah, we're gonna be really good this year. That's all it is.
Well, and then going back to the one-on-ones, man, that's what I wanted to see, and that's what I saw from Tank Dell, right? Like, press him if you dare, because if you lose, 6 the other way. And I see a lot of that in your game where it's like, if you want to try, okay, best of luck. You better win. You better
for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. So that's awesome. And so kind of even off of that, so you got Dylan Gabriel, so you guys are going to be on the same team. There's going to be a couple quarterbacks that you've never seen throw the football your way. So talk to me about the challenges, but also maybe some of the excitement that comes from that, getting to work with some new quarterbacks.
I love that challenge. That is new quarterbacks, because no telling who I may link up with in the NFL. You got to adjust.
Totally.
Our receiver job is to catch the football. So no matter what the ball is thrown to, you catch it. No excuses. You drop a pass, next play mentality, go catch the next one. But you also got to have that trust in the quarterback to be able to throw the ball to you whenever you want. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So, Tez, walk me through, what are some of your goals, hopes, ambitions for this week of practice, and then, of course, the game Saturday?
Well, obviously to show I'm the best out here. Being able to just show these teams that, like, I belong. Like, I can play at this level. I've played in 3 conferences my whole entire college career.
Right.
Each year I've progressed. So I don't want them to think it's a myth. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Because you got little receivers out here, oh, these guys can't play. Oh, you worried about this, you worried about that. Just, we belong. And I think that we trying to show a lot of teams that the game is changing. You need guys like us in the league because we changed the game. Look at Devontae Smith. He's a 2-time Super Bowl appearance guy.
Yeah, 100%.
And he's a Heisman Trophy winner. And look at him. He's not the biggest, fastest, or the strongest.
But he is open.
He's a dog, for sure.
No doubt. So, you know what, actually, real quick, before I let you go, so on the one-on-ones, I always like to know, who am I keeping my eyes on after the rep? You're going to chirp with these guys, or is that in your wheelbox, or are you just controlling you, you're going about your business?
I'm not going to lie, I'm not a big talker.
Okay.
Unless we in like a real, actual game, and we going at it. And I'm like in one of those modes, like, all right, I'm on that timer now. But one-on-ones, I'm not really much a talker. One of the guys I'm looking forward to.
Took the question out of my mouth. Here we go. What is the matchup?
Going against is Caleb Ransaw.
Okay.
We played at Troy together. It's been a while since we went against each other. So
little reunion.
Yeah, a little reunion. We got a lot of coaches coming back to see us, but it's gonna be fun. Can't wait to go out there in one-on-ones and just show my ability to play at this level and stuff like that. So yeah.
Absolutely. You know what? Actually, one more question then, because you're going to see a couple different types of corners too. Right?
Yeah.
Like you look at a Darian Porter, former receiver turned corner. He's 6'4", but then you're going to also see some smaller guys. So I don't know how much tape or how much research you've done to these guys, but is there a certain type of corner, or is there a certain matchup that you're excited about, or is it just, hey, these guys, they control them, I control me?
All of them.
All of them. You want them all. Tez
Yeah.
Johnson wants them all. Perfect.
Sure.
Well, Tez, man, appreciate you taking the time. I'm super excited to see you this week, and hope it's a great week of practice and a great game on Saturday.
Thank you, man. Really appreciate you having me.
No doubt. Awesome.
Thank
TJ Winger alongside cornerback from Ole Miss, Trey Amos. Trey, thanks for taking the time to join us.
Was deaf, man. I'm grateful.
Yeah. Well, Trey, man, you're a fun corner to watch. This is actually a really good corner class, too. And, I mean, also, like, the Senior Bowl, great outlet for you guys in the one-on-one drills, good receivers, good corners. We're pumped up to see you tomorrow. But, man, you're also a guy who's played a ton of football, right? Like, ultimately transferred your way to Ole Miss, 4 years worth of college experience. And then 1 more week, so I want to know your decision. You've already played a lot of football. You got a lot of tape out there, a lot of really good tape. Mm-hmm. What was the motivation to come to Mobile?
I feel like I wanted to come out here and compete, one of the best of the best, and, show off my talents and, put me in the best position at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And like I said, this is going to be a great one-on-one battle, corners versus receivers. Mm-hmm. And there's a good mix of guys. You got Jalen Knoll, who's a guy who's with a ton of speed. Same team, Jaden Higgins, 6'3". Yeah. So is a corner. You look at all these different body types. You got some slot guys, outside guys, big bodies, small, shifty guys.
Right.
What's the mindset coming into this? Because you're going to see a little bit of everything this week.
Just staying consistent. I feel like that's the main thing. Just try to keep the main thing. Don't be too high, don't be too low. Just be consistent. And I feel like I have a great week. I will have a great week.
Absolutely. And man, when I first started watching your film, I was like, size, length, your arms look long. We'll get the official measurements this week. I'm like, this guy is built to play some man press coverage. But also, the more I watched, you're a really fluid athlete, you're great in zone coverage, and you're actively communicating, which is always a great sign too, especially in zone coverage. What's your preference, man or zone?
I feel like it was Coach PG and Coach Brian Brown kept harping on, getting better at my zone eyes. I feel like I was always good at man coverage. I feel like just adding that zone coverage to my game just brought more to the table. So.
Absolutely. And also, I think you got good ball skills, so I'm really excited to see that this upcoming week. Man, Ole Miss was a fun team to watch this year. And in this day and age where NIL was a part of the factor, y'all ended up having one of the most loaded rosters in a college football year where there were a ton of loaded rosters. And so we're going to get to see some of these guys. Let's start with Jackson Dart, man. Like, what are your hopes, expectations for Jackson this week?
Man, I hope the best for him, man. For real. I feel like he deserves it. I feel like if he come out, do his thing like he's been doing all year, hey, sky's the limit, honestly. So.
And then Prince Umon-Mielon's a really fun player for me to watch. I was really high on him a few years ago, coming out of Florida. He decides to go to Ole Miss. Speed and bend. How does that help out your game right there? That type of him and Jared Ivey. Honestly, another guy we'll get to see this week. Really good pass rush. How does that help you out?
Man, it helps a lot, man. When the D line, gets to the quarterback, make it so easy for the back five, and grateful for them boys. I hope they have a great week, and just keep on rolling.
Absolutely. And then you look at some of the other guys that you guys got to go head to head with. Like, I've watched that LSU Alabama game, or sorry, Ole Miss Bama game probably 50 times. It feels like, just because both sides loaded, a lot of prospects to watch. So Jalen Milroe coming down. What was it like from your perspective playing a guy like that? Big arm, crazy athlete. What was that like? What was that matchup like?
I feel like it was a great matchup. A quarterback that can do a lot of things. Can beat you with his legs. Still have the great deep arm. But yeah, man, Jalen Milroe is a great player. Yeah, so I hope the best for him as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been really fun to see all these SEC players here, and man, like I said, I'm super pumped to see your game, man. So I don't want to hold you up too long, but man, any hopes, goals, ambitions for this week?
I just got to be the best person I can be out there and just be myself.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, and just have faith.
Control what you can control. I like it. That's a great mindset, Trey. Best of luck this week, man.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you.